little bit of a warm up, and then go up a little bit higher. If you were to palpate, you can feel the spine of the scapula in and around here. Where the spine of the scapula comes off the scapula itself is where there are loads of trigger points. So we're aiming for that point there. So I know through my massage where my midpoint is. And I think everything up until that point is going to be a bit stingy, but not too bad. Okay. Now I would do this because it's often the pain site for a lot of people with elevated and protracted shoulders. But you have to remember that this area is going to be lengthened and weakened, and too much vigorous massage might allow it to stretch and weaken further. So you don't want to do too much. It's more about satisfying that kind of pain sensation that they've got. But now I'm moving up into where it is good to treat. So now I've gone into where the spine of the scapular line is. I'm starting to work into there. How's it feel for you?
Quite tender, actually.
Quite tender. Am I going too deep?
No, it's fine.
Okay. This is the trick here on in. So the spine of the scapula is the last point at which the muscles are most posterior. From here on in, we're starting to move at a diagonal anteriorly down. So we need to get a direction of pressures right again. And then we need to change the position. I'm coming in, careful not to pinch on the hairs. And it's all elbow work for me. And this trapezius is where I wound up my fingers so bad. So now we're coming into the levator scapula and the rhomboid minor at this point here. And I'm just frictioning from the spinous process down. That's going to feel pretty okay in that position. So you've got to remember at this point to bring the arm onto the couch and reaching down. That now has given those muscles a stretch and has released the stretch that was on the lower muscles. If you had issues in and around the lower rhomboids, you could position the hand so that it's coming over the top of your head if it was comfortable, but that can be quite an uncomfortable position for people to be in. Now you've got a little bit more stretch on the lower part of the rhomboids. It's rare that I need to develop that stretch, so it's very rare that I would do that move. But you can see from here, the scapula is now all the way out this angle, so rhomboids are going to be quite stretched. And around here, these are going to be quite relaxed. So then if you bring your arm into a neutral, like 90 degrees of abduction, they're in a kind of half and half position, a little bit of flick going on, a little bit of relaxation, and you can get into all of these really quite nicely. Bringing the arm down will create that little bit of stretch. So we'll just put a little bit of depression, and then reach down towards your ankle for me. Good reach, that's it, and relax. Right now, from where you were to where you are now, pressure's about the same. How does that feel?
It feels really good.
The toes are wiggling,
yeah.
And it's far more appropriate, I think, in terms of your treatment. That is getting into that, and there's no fingers being used yet, which is really important. You want to delay the finger usage as much as possible. Good, but any further now, so from here on in, I'm pretty much going to have to use my fingers in order to generate my pressure. So, I've lost my, I'm going to stool, sorry. And I've chosen the wrong side for me because I'm so bad. I'm going my right to left. Now this is my petrissage. And you can do, pick up the whole of the scapula. So this would be classed as petrissage. To go all the way around, pick up the skin, mobilize it, work it. That's quite a nice superficial petrissage to do. I would come into the neckline and I pick up the trapezius muscles and I roll. So my thumb is underneath the trapezius muscle and I'm bringing my fingers closer and closer together and pulling the trapezius muscle towards me and down towards the couch as we go. So give it a little bit of a passing the soft tissue between each finger and thumb, and then grab together. Now I've got my thumbs reinforced, my fingers are reinforced, and I've got upper trapezius and levator scapula all in one.
Together, are they?
Pinched, a pincer action.
Is that what you were doing to me earlier?
Not quite, but it's the start of that. I move over the top of the shoulder, and I keep encouraging the arm to go down. So now I'm just doing a little bit of a warm-up stroke on the deltoid in this position. What I was doing to Jade is I go right into the base of the neck and I use my thumb and I try and get underneath the trapezius muscles with my thumb. And then I bring my other thumb onto the trapezius and the levator scapula, and I squish the two together to create like a pincer grip on specifically the levator scapula. And then I might work my way across it ever so slightly, and then release and let it go. And that goes against everything that I've said, because now I've got like a hyperextended thumb, and they are elevated, and they are working overtime. So I think we did it for...
Yeah, but it feels really good.
Really good. And we did it for a minute or so, and then we moved on. So like, every now and again I will bring my thumbs out for something like that, where I think actually the benefits of that outweigh the dangers of doing that briefly. You can see that's my snooker cue positioning. You might be able to bring that down a little bit more. And if you didn't want to use your thumbs, then my little blue gadget or little green finger would do the same thing. Just getting into there. But it feels really good. I haven't asked you, Joe. How does it feel for you, Joe? It feels really good to have that compressed and to work through, and it feels really thorough to work through. So now we've come all the way around through to upper trapezius. We can bring